At my wedding with Ryan, the crown prince of Beijing's elite circle, the MC smiled with a face full of joy. Groom, let's play a classic game. If the bride and your female buddy Chloe both fall into the water at the same time, who would you save? The entire audience burst into laughter. The guests all thought this was just a joke to liven up the atmosphere. However, Ryan fell silent. He held my hand, and the temperature at his fingertips gradually cooled. Chloe, dressed in a bridesmaid gown, stood beside him, laughing uncontrollably, her skirt swaying. Ryan, you better think carefully before answering, this is a deadly question. Her voice was coquettish, carrying a hint of imperceptible provocation. Ryan's gaze bypassed me and landed on Chloe's face, with an intensity one had never seen before. A few seconds of dead silence felt as long as a century. He finally turned back, looking at me, and said word by word, clearly and unmistakably, I would save Chloe. My heartbeat skipped a beat. Evelyn, you can swim, but Chloe can't. He said it so seriously, so matter-of-factly, as if this weren't a wedding but a logically rigorous debate. The audience below instantly fell quiet. All eyes, sympathetic, eager for drama, astonished, pierced me like countless needles. My parents' faces turned pale in an instant. And Ryan's mother, the noblewoman who had looked down on me from the beginning, curled her lips into a smug, cold smile. I looked at Ryan, the man I had loved for 7 years. 7 years of devotion, 7 years of companionship, in his heart, it all amounted to less than the phrase she can't swim. I smiled. Slowly raising my hand, I removed the veil adorned with pearls. The white lace slipped from my hair, like a grand and absurd dream finally awakening. I gently placed the veil on the tray handed over by the MC. Then, I took off the $1 million diamond ring from my ring finger. Fine, Ryan, this wedding is off. I threw the ring on the ground, it bounced on the smooth marble floor, making a crisp yet piercing sound. Everyone gasped in shock. I lifted my skirt, turned around, with my back to him, and said in a voice not loud but clear enough for the entire audience to hear, now, you two can fall into the water together and see who comes to save you. I didn't look back, stepping down from the platform one step at a time. The sound of my high heels on the ground was the dirge I played for my 7 years of youth. Behind me was a deathly silence and the impending chaos. But I didn't care anymore. Ryan, your choice, I'll fulfill it for you. I didn't cry, not even a single tear. Walking out of the opulent banquet hall, the sunlight outside was blinding. I took off my high heels and walked barefoot on the scorching asphalt road, the hem of my wedding dress dragging on the ground, covered in dust. Just like my 7 years of love, appearing magnificent, but ultimately filthy beyond repair. My phone vibrated frantically in my handbag. Without looking, I knew it was Ryan. I turned it off directly and hailed a taxi. Driver, to Xinghuan Villa District. The driver glanced at my disheveled wedding dress through the rearview mirror, hesitating to speak. Back at the bridal chamber that Ryan and I shared, the red festive characters all over the room stung my eyes. I walked into the walk-in closet and took out the largest suitcases. One by one, I began packing my belongings. The clothes I brought, the books I bought, my collection of vinyl records. Everything I paid for, everything my parents gave me, I took them all. When I got to the study, I saw an exquisite velvet box on the desk. Inside was the wedding gift I had prepared for Ryan, a limited edition Patek Philippe watch. I had pursued him for 7 years, and he finally agreed to marry me. I thought I had persevered until the clouds parted and the moon shone. I picked up the box and put it down again. Then, I took out another thick stack of documents from the drawer. Those were the complete plans I had made for his company's development in the next quarter, along with client information for several major projects I had personally handled. These were my true dowry. I packed all the documents into my briefcase. As for the watch, let it be my last gift to him. A gift to remind him of what he had truly lost. 2 hours later, I stood at the door dragging 4 huge suitcases. The moving company truck I had called was already waiting downstairs. I took one last look at this house I once thought would be my forever home. No lingering attachment at all. I closed the door, and the lock clicked, as if severing my last connection to this place. Just as I was about to go downstairs, Ryan's call came in again, this time to my backup work phone. I swiped to answer. "Evelyn, have you thrown enough of a tantrum?" His voice carried suppressed anger and a hint of impatience. "The wedding isn't over yet, where have you run off to? Come back immediately." I leaned against the cold wall, listening to his self-righteous commands. "Ryan, do you think I'll still come back to you wagging my tail like before, no matter how you treat me?" The other end of the line fell silent. "Let me tell you, it's impossible now. I wish you and Chloe 100 years of harmony and eternal love." I hung up the phone and blocked all his contact methods. Behind me, his phone rang frantically. I guessed it was Chloe calling. She must be advising him in her soft, boneless voice, "Ryan, don't be angry with Evelyn, she's just impulsive." How nice. He can finally rightfully go comfort his good buddy who can't swim. I didn't leave Beijing. The most dangerous place is the safest. I moved into my best friend Sienna's apartment. As soon as she opened the door and saw me dragging 4 large boxes, wearing a dirty wedding dress, her eyes nearly popped out. "Damn, what happened to you? Did you fail to crash a wedding and get thrown out from the ceremony?" I forced a smile. "No, I threw away the groom." Sienna pulled me into the house and poured me a cup of hot water. "Well done. I've long disliked that dog of a man Ryan. And that Chloe, pretending to be Lin Dayu all day, pfft." She cursed indignantly, more agitated than I was. I drank the hot water, warming my stomach a bit. "Sienna, I need your help." "Tell me." "Help me find a place, I want to start working as soon as possible. Also, help me liquidate the properties and funds under my name into cash." Sienna was stunned. "Evelyn, what are you planning to do? Completely cut ties with Ryan?" "Yes, completely." I looked out the window as the sky gradually darkened. I loved him for 7 years, gave up the opportunity to study abroad for him, joined his family's company for him, managed connections for him, resolved troubles for him. I thought I was warming a stone, but now I realize it's an eternally cold ice that can't be warmed. He's not ice, he just doesn't warm for you. Sienna hit the nail on the head. That night, Ryan finally found Sienna's place. He rang the doorbell incessantly. Sienna peeked through the peephole, turned back to me with a just as expected expression. Let him ring, tire him out. The doorbell stopped, turning into pounding on the door. "Evelyn! Open the door. I know you're in there." His voice was full of irritability. "Do you think hiding here will solve everything? Today, you made both families lose face. You must come back with me and give everyone an explanation." I sat on the sofa, motionless. Sienna went to the door and opened it. Ryan's face darkened further upon seeing her. "Let her come out." Sienna crossed her arms, leaning against the doorframe. "Ryan, Evelyn doesn't want to see you. She asked me to tell you that since the wedding is called off, don't come entangling anymore. You better hurry back to accompany your Chloe who can't swim. What if she drowns in the bathtub while bathing?" Ryan's face instantly turned as black as the bottom of a pot. "You." He tried to barge in but was firmly blocked by Sienna. "Ryan, this is my home, if you act wild again, I'll call the police." At that moment, Ryan's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and answered irritably. From the other end came Chloe's tearful, weak voice, clear even from a distance. "Ryan, where are you? Don't blame Evelyn, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have put you in a difficult position." Ryan's expression softened instantly. He took a deep breath, and his tone became gentle. "Don't overthink, it's not your fault. I'll be there soon." After hanging up, he gave me one last look, his eyes complex. "Evelyn, you better think clearly. Don't do something you'll regret." He turned and left, his steps hurried. Looking at his back, I finally confirmed. 7 years, it's time for me to wake up. He would never choose me. I disappeared. I changed my phone number, moved out of Sienna's apartment, and checked into a hotel that doesn't register guest information publicly. I began methodically handling my assets while also seeking new opportunities. Ryan couldn't find me and was nearly driven mad. At first, he thought I was just throwing a tantrum and would return after a few days. After all, in the past 7 years, we had argued countless times, and each time I was the first to yield. But this time, he waited 1 day, 2 days, a week. I vanished like I had evaporated from the world. His messages shifted from initial commands to irritation, then to a hint of panic. "Evelyn, what do you want exactly? Come back. Let's talk. If you don't show up, I'll go to your home to find your parents. Evelyn, I admit I was wrong, come back, okay?" Looking at these messages, I only felt irony. If only he had known earlier, why bother in the first place? A week later, Ryan's troubles began. The first call was from Richard of Huasheng Group. Richard was a famous stubborn old man in Beijing's circle, impervious to persuasion. It was I who accompanied him drinking half a gin of baijiu to secure that 3 billion yuan cooperation deal. "Ryan, regarding the Southern City project, our board has reassessed and decided to shelve it temporarily." Ryan forced a smile on the phone. "Richard, look, hasn't the project been progressing smoothly? Is there some misunderstanding?" Richard's voice carried no warmth. "No misunderstanding. I originally cooperated with you for Miss Evelyn's sake. Since Miss Evelyn is no longer with your company, the basis for our cooperation no longer exists." The call was hung up. Ryan stood stunned in his office, unable to react for a long time. This was just the beginning. Next, problems arose within his company. The project team I had led before was composed of people I had personally promoted. After I left, Ryan parachuted in one of his confidants as the supervisor. As a result, the entire project team collectively submitted resignation letters. The new supervisor couldn't control the situation at all, the project progress completely stalled, and new problems were reported every day. Ryan's desk was piled with messes he had to handle personally. He was overwhelmed and anxious. He began to realize that my departure took away not just me as a person, but also the resources and connections I had brought to his company, which he had once dismissed or taken for granted. He began frantically searching for me. He went to my parents' house and was directly chased out by my dad with a broom. He went to Sienna's company and was escorted out by security called by Sienna. Like a headless fly, he inquired about my whereabouts everywhere in Beijing's circle. Meanwhile, Chloe not only couldn't help but kept causing him trouble. "Ryan, for the new drama I took on, the crew wants us to hype up some scandal, what do you think? Ryan, for my birthday, can you gift me that pink Lamborghini? Ryan, you haven't accompanied me for days, do you not love me anymore?" Ryan finally exploded during one of her unreasonable tantrums. "Chloe. Besides asking for things, what else can you do? Do you know what situation the company is in now?" Chloe was stunned by his roar, and her eyes immediately reddened. You're yelling at me? Ryan, you're yelling at me for Evelyn?" Ryan looked at her tear-streaked face and felt deep fatigue for the first time. He had once thought Chloe's fragility needed his protection. Now he realized this fragility was a heavy burden. He waved his hand, not wanting to argue further. "You go back first, I want to be alone." Sitting in the empty office, he felt panic for the first time. He discovered that the name Evelyn had been etched into every corner of his life. Without her, his world was crumbling bit by bit. Ryan's father, Victor, the chairman of Zhou Group, finally couldn't sit still. He called Ryan to his office and slammed a report on his face. "You bastard. Look. Look at what you've done." The front page of the newspaper featured news of Zhou Group's stock price plummeting for a consecutive week. In just half a month, the company's market value has evaporated by 30 billion. 3 major projects halted. Core team collectively resigned. "Ryan, is this how you act as the heir?" Victor trembled with anger. Ryan lowered his head, silent. I told you long ago. That girl Evelyn is not simple. She has ability, skill, connections. She's the best choice to help you stabilize the empire. You did such a stupid thing at the wedding for that actress who only knows how to perform. Dad, Chloe isn't. Shut up. Victor pointed at his nose and cursed, you now, immediately, find Evelyn and bring her back. Even if you have to kneel and beg, bring her back. Ryan left his father's office, dejected. For the first time, he saw complete disappointment in his father's eyes. He began searching for me by any means necessary, even using his father's connections to check my entry-exit records and consumption records. But he found nothing. I had changed all my cards, and all assets were transferred to an overseas account he didn't know about. Like a madman, he sent hundreds of messages daily to my old phone number. From initial threats to later pleas. Evelyn, I was wrong, really wrong. Come back, let's start over. I'll send Chloe away, far away. As long as you come back, I'll do anything you want. 7 years of feelings, can you really let go just like that? Looking at these belated repentances, my heart was unmoved. 7 years. I spent 7 years teaching him how to love someone. Unfortunately, by the time he learned, I no longer wanted it. While Ryan was overwhelmed, I was in Shanghai. Sitting in a high-end restaurant by the Huangpu River, across from me sat a refined and elegant man. Alex, the founder of Shinda Capital, and Ryan's biggest competitor in business. I met him at a business forum, and he had always appreciated my abilities. Miss Evelyn, I've heard of your reputation for a long time, meeting you today, you live up to it. He poured me a glass of red wine. I heard you left Zhou Group, what are your plans next? I swirled the wine in my glass. Alex, let's be straightforward. I came to you today to discuss a collaboration. I took out a document from my bag and pushed it in front of him. This is all of Zhou Group's project plans for the next half year, as well as their biggest weaknesses. Alex's eyes lit up. He picked up the document, quickly browsing it, his appreciation growing stronger. Miss Evelyn, you're planning to destroy Ryan completely. I smiled. Business is like a battlefield, isn't it? I just want to take back what belongs to me. Alex closed the document and looked at me. Shinda Capital doesn't lack a professional manager, but a partner who can fight side by side. He extended his hand to me. Miss Evelyn, welcome aboard. I shook his hand. Pleasure to cooperate. Outside the window, the lights of the Oriental Pearl Tower shone brilliantly. A new era had begun. And Ryan's era was about to end. The news of me joining Shinda Capital exploded like a bombshell in Beijing's circle and the business world. No one expected that the woman abandoned by Ryan would become his biggest rival's partner in the blink of an eye. This wasn't just a slap in the face, it was rubbing Ryan's face in the dirt. When the news reached Ryan, he was getting blackout drunk in a bar. He saw the push notification on his phone with the title, Ex-Girlfriend's Gorgeous Revenge? Evelyn joins hands with Shinda Capital, aiming at Zhou Group. The accompanying image was a photo of me and Alex shaking hands at the signing ceremony. In the photo, I wore a sharp white suit, smiling confidently and composed. Beside me, Alex, handsome and elegant, looked at me with eyes full of appreciation and respect. Ryan gripped his phone, veins bulging on the back of his hand. He dialed my new number, which Alex had given me. The phone rang for a long time before being answered. Hello. My voice was calm like still water. Evelyn. He roared, what do you mean? You defected to Alex to deal with me? Is this how you love me? I almost laughed out loud. Ryan, I think you're mistaken. First, we have no relationship anymore. Second, I'm now a partner at Shinda Capital, Alex and I have an equal partnership, not defection. Third, love? You're talking to me about love now? Don't you find it ridiculous? At the wedding, when you humiliated me publicly for Chloe, why didn't you talk about love? When I slaved away for your company and you took it for granted, why didn't you talk about love? Ryan, your love is too cheap, I can't afford it. On the other end was a long silence, only his heavy breathing. Evelyn, come back. His voice suddenly softened, with a plea. I was a bastard, ungrateful. Come back, I'll give you half the company's shares. No, I'll give you the entire company, okay? No. I refused outright. Ryan, you can't give me what I want. What you give me are things you don't want. What Alex gives me is respect, trust, and the qualification to fight side by side. You weren't like this before. He muttered to himself, you loved me so much before, willing to do anything for me. Yes, before I was blind. I hung up the phone. Ryan, you'll never understand. What crushed me wasn't your choice at the wedding, but the countless moments over those 7 years when you chose others. I'm tired, I don't want to wait anymore. My counterattack had just begun. Using my knowledge of Zhou Group, I precisely targeted each of their projects. I poached their most core technical team. I snatched their most important clients. With my help, Shinda Capital advanced unstoppable, gradually eroding Zhou Group's market share. Zhou Group's stock price plummeted, on the verge of collapse. Ryan panicked completely. He watched helplessly as the empire his father built single-handedly teetered under my attacks, powerless to stop it. Like a gambler who lost all his chips, he resorted to the most despicable means. He hired online trolls to smear me on the internet, calling me a gold digger who would do anything for money, saying I betrayed love, that I was a scheming venomous woman. All sorts of unsightly words were used on me. Sienna called me in anger, urging me to send a lawyer's letter to sue them immediately. But I was calm. No need to bother. The more they do this, the more it proves they've run out of tricks. The attacks from public opinion couldn't harm me. Because my heart had already died at that failed wedding. Chloe also felt Ryan's predicament. He no longer catered to her every whim like before. The limited edition bag she wanted, he didn't buy. The jewelry she fancied, he told her to pay for herself. She complained about him spending less time with her, and he only roared impatiently, the company is about to collapse, is that all you have in your mind? Chloe felt wrong too. What's wrong with me? I just want you to spend more time with me. You weren't like this before. Is it because of Evelyn? Are you still thinking about her? Shut up. Ryan's forehead veins bulged, what right do you have to mention her? This was the first time he lost his temper at Chloe for my sake. Chloe was stunned, tears welling up instantly. Ryan, you bastard. You're yelling at me for her. Have you forgotten who was by your side accompanying you, who took care of you when you were sick? She ran out crying. Ryan didn't chase after her. He sat exhausted on the sofa, his mind in chaos. He recalled the past that Chloe mentioned. Yes, when he argued with Evelyn, it was Chloe who drank with him. When he was tired from work, it was Chloe who massaged him. When he was sick, it was Chloe who cared for him in the hospital. But he forgot. He argued with Evelyn because he went to accompany other women. He was tired from work because he took credit for the proposals Evelyn made. He was hospitalized because he accompanied Chloe in the rain the night before, while Evelyn was abroad negotiating a billion-yuan contract for him. All of Chloe's understanding was built on my concessions and sacrifices. He had always thought Chloe was his confidant, his soulmate. Now he understood she was just a refined egoist parasitizing on his and my relationship. He picked up his phone and dialed my number again. This time, the call was answered quickly. But it was a man's voice. Hello, who are you looking for? It was Alex. Ryan's heart sank to the bottom instantly. Where's Evelyn? Let her answer. She's asleep. Alex's voice was calm. Ryan, calling so late, what's the matter? If it's business, please contact my assistant tomorrow. If it's personal, I think you have no right. You. Ryan trembled with anger. Alex, don't be too smug. Do you think you've won? I never thought this was about winning or losing. Alex said faintly, I just took back what rightfully belongs to Evelyn. including the respect and care a man should give her. Good night, Ryan. The call was hung up. Ryan listened to the busy tone, feeling all his strength drained. He had lost. Lost utterly. 1 year later. The Asian Business Leaders Summit. This was the highest-level business event in Asia, and those invited were the elites of various industries. As a partner of Shinda Capital and the most influential businesswoman of the year, I was invited as the opening keynote speaker. Wearing a well-tailored black gown, I stood under the spotlight, calmly sharing my business philosophy and vision for the future. Below the stage sat over 1,000 business elites from around the world. My gaze swept across the audience and finally landed on an inconspicuous seat in the corner. Ryan was sitting there. He was no longer the spirited crown prince of Beijing's elite circle. In a year, he had lost a lot of weight, with sunken eyes, stubbly beard, and his suit looking somewhat worn. He just stared at me blankly, his eyes filled with regret, pain, and unwillingness. Zhou Group had officially declared bankruptcy a month ago. His presence here today was probably after begging many people to get the lowest tier entry ticket. He came here to see me. The speech ended, and the audience erupted in thunderous applause. I smiled, bowed in thanks, and walked off the stage. Alex came up, naturally taking my handbag and handing me a bottle of water. You spoke very well, he said with a smile, his eyes full of pride. Thank you. I returned the smile. We walked side by side toward the lounge. Suddenly, a figure rushed out from the side, blocking our path. It was Ryan. His eyes were bloodshot, like a trapped beast. Evelyn. He grabbed my arm with frightening strength. I have something to say to you. Alex immediately frowned, stepped forward, shielding me behind him. He grabbed Ryan's wrist, his voice turning cold. Mr. Ryan, please let go. Ryan acted as if he hadn't heard, staring fixedly at me. Evelyn, let's talk, just 5 minutes, okay? His voice was hoarse, pleading. People around started looking over, pointing and whispering. I didn't want to entangle with him in this setting. I pushed aside Alex's hand and looked at Ryan calmly. Ryan, is there anything left to talk about between us? Yes. He said urgently, Evelyn, I know I was wrong, really wrong. Forgive me, okay? Let's start over, I don't want anything, I just want you. In front of everyone, he knelt down with a thud. The audience was in uproar. The once arrogant Ryan kneeling to beg his ex-fiancé for reconciliation, this was definitely tomorrow's headline in all financial news. Looking at the man kneeling before me, my heart had no ripples, even finding it somewhat laughable. Did he think I was wrong could erase all the hurt? Did he think that by setting aside his pitiful pride, I should gratefully return to his side? I smiled lightly. I bent down, whispered in his ear in a voice only we could hear, Ryan, you look just like a dog right now. His body stiffened suddenly, lifting his head in disbelief to look at me. I straightened up, linked arms with Alex. Darling, let's go. I turned to Alex with a brilliant smile. There's a mad dog barking here, it's too noisy. Alex indulgently ruffled my hair and embraced me as we walked past him. I didn't look back at him again. Ryan, the humiliation you gave me, today, I return it twofold. Your dignity is worthless to me. That kneel at the summit completely destroyed Ryan's last shred of dignity. He became the laughingstock of the entire Beijing circle. Did you hear? That prodigal son of the Zhou family knelt to Evelyn, and she didn't even acknowledge him. Serves him right. Treating her like that at the wedding back then, regretting now? Too late. I heard Evelyn is now with Alex from Shinda, that's a match made in heaven, talented man and beautiful woman. These rumors cut into Ryan's heart like knives. He was bankrupt, and his friends scattered. Those brothers who once revolved around him now avoided him. He went to find Chloe. The woman he once thought he could abandon the world for. He knocked on the door of her newly rented apartment. Chloe saw him, her face showing no joy, only disdain. What are you doing here? We've already broken up. She was wearing sexy pajamas, and behind her, a fat-headed, big-eared middle-aged man poked his head out. That was a famous investor in the circle, known for his lechery. Ryan's eyes reddened instantly. Who is he? Chloe crossed her arms and sneered. My new boyfriend, Howard. What, Ryan, you can't even manage your own life now, and you want to manage mine? Chloe. Ryan rushed forward, trying to grab her. Were you with me just for the money? Howard pushed him away. Kid, who are you? Dare to touch my woman? Ryan staggered from the push, hitting the wall. Looking at the oily-faced man before him and then at the indifferent Chloe, he suddenly laughed. A laugh uglier than crying. Good, good, good. He said good 3 times in a row, turned, and stumbled away. He finally understood what he had given up for this woman. He gave up a woman who had him in her heart and eyes, willing to build from scratch with him. Instead, he chose a gold digger who, when he had nothing, turned and threw herself into another's arms. How ridiculous. How ironic. He wandered aimlessly on the street as heavy rain poured down, soaking him through. He walked to the building of my and Alex's company. He looked up and saw the light still on in the top-floor CEO's office. He knew I was there. He took out his phone and dialed the number he knew by heart. The phone rang for a long time, and just as he thought no one would answer, it was picked up. Hello. It was still my voice, cold and distant. Evelyn. He choked, rain and tears mixing. I have nothing left. The company is gone, friends are gone, even Chloe left me. Now, I only have you left. I listened quietly. Ryan, you're mistaken. You don't only have me left. From the beginning, you never possessed me. The moment you chose to save Chloe, you had already lost me. I paused and continued. Also, don't call me again. My fiancé will be unhappy. With that, I hung up. In the office, Alex came over and gently hugged me from behind. All handled? I leaned into his arms, looking at the myriad lights outside the window. Thank you. Silly, between us, no need for thanks. He kissed my forehead. Yes, between us, we are partners, comrades, and lovers. This is the love I want. Equality, respect, side by side. As for Ryan, his life has nothing to do with me anymore. Ryan completely disappeared from my world. Later, I heard bits and pieces about him from Sienna. His father Victor, due to the company's bankruptcy, had a stroke from anxiety and was hospitalized. His mother couldn't bear the fall from grace, sold all her jewelry, and went abroad. And he himself, to pay for his father's high medical bills, reportedly became a waiter at a club. The crown prince who once called the shots in Beijing's circle now had to bow and scrape, smiling and pouring drinks for those nouveau riches he once despised. When Sienna said this, her tone was full of sighs. Truly, fortunes change. Who would have thought he'd end up like this? I just faintly addition. For him, I had long lost any hatred. Only complete indifference remained. My relationship with Alex was stable. He gave me full trust and support, allowing me to fully display my talents in business. Together, we took Shinda Capital to new heights. A year later, we got engaged. The engagement banquet was low-key, inviting only family and best friends from both sides. At the banquet, Alex knelt on one knee in front of everyone to propose. The ring he presented wasn't some pigeon-egg diamond, but a simply designed platinum ring, with our initials engraved on the inner band. Evelyn, I don't have Ryan's illustrious family background, nor can I give you a wedding of the century. But I can promise you that from now on, in my world, you will always be first priority. No matter what happens, I will choose you without hesitation. His eyes were sincere and firm. I smiled and extended my hand, letting him put the ring on me. I do. I don't need a wedding of the century, nor a pigeon egg. What I wanted, from beginning to end, was just a firm choice. Shortly after the engagement, I got pregnant. Alex was nervous like a child, wishing to keep me by his side 24 hours a day. He turned down all unnecessary social engagements and came home on time every day to accompany me. He cooked personally, learning to make various meals for pregnant women. He accompanied me on walks, told me stories, massaged my swollen calves. He took care of me meticulously. I often thought, if I hadn't turned and left at the wedding back then, what would I be like now? Probably guarding a man who doesn't love me, in a family full of conflicts, slowly withering in day after day disappointment. I'm glad for my bravery back then. Sometimes, giving up requires more courage than persisting. And my giving up brought me a brand new, sun-filled life. The day the child was born, it was a healthy boy. Alex held the child, his eyes red with excitement. "Evelyn, you worked hard." He leaned down to kiss me, his eyes full of heartache. I looked at him, then at the tiny infant in his arms, feeling my heart filled to the brim. This is happiness. For the child's 1-month celebration, we held a small banquet. Sienna held my son, unable to let go. "The little guy is so handsome, he'll definitely be a heartthrob charming thousands of girls in the future." I smiled and said, "That won't do, I don't want him to become a second Ryan." The speaker meant no harm, but the listener took it to heart. Sienna's expression paused. "Evelyn, there's something I don't know if I should tell you." "What is it?" "A few days ago, I saw Ryan at the hospital." My heart trembled slightly. "What happened to him?" "Not him, his dad. I heard from the nurse that Victor's condition isn't good, maybe, just these few days." Sienna sighed. "When I saw him, he was arguing at the payment counter, seems like not enough for medical fees. He looked, very down and out, like a homeless person." I fell silent. I didn't know what to say. Sympathy? Seems not. Gloating? Not really. His life was the result of his own choices. All I could do was respect that. That night, when Alex came back, I told him about it. He held my hand. "Do you want to go see?" I shook my head. "No. It's all in the past." He hugged me. "Okay, whatever you say." A few days later, news of Victor's death came. The funeral was simple, even desolate. Besides a few distant relatives, almost no one attended. I didn't go. I just had Sienna send a wreath in my name. Consider it drawing a final period to my 7 years of youth. From then on, I never heard any news about Ryan again. He was like a shooting star, briefly streaking across my life, then completely falling. A few more years passed. My son could run and jump, hug my neck and act cute, calling me mommy. Alex and my company had become the industry leader. We went through many storms together, but our relationship grew stronger. My life was peaceful and happy. I hadn't thought of the name Ryan for a long time. Until that day. I took my son to the mall to buy toys. Passing a fast food restaurant, I glanced inadvertently. A man in a waiter's uniform, cleaning tables, caught my attention. He had his back to me, thin figure, movements somewhat slow. He turned around, and I saw his face. It was Ryan. Time had carved deep marks on his face, he looked much older than his actual age. The once high spirits were long gone. Only full-body fatigue and numbness remained. He didn't see me. He carried a tray full of leftovers, silently heading to the back kitchen. My son tugged my hand. "Mommy, what's wrong?" I came back to my senses and smiled at him. "Nothing. Baby, shall we go over there to see Transformers?" "Yay." I held my son's hand and turned to leave. I didn't disturb him. Nor did I have any desire to go up and say a few words. We were already people from two different worlds. He has his narrow path, I have my broad road. Forgetting each other in the world is the last decency we can give each other. Walking out of the mall, the sunshine was just right. Alex's car was already waiting at the door. He got out, took the shopping bags from my hand, then picked up our son and kissed his face. "Did you have fun today?" "Yes." Daddy, Mommy bought me Optimus Prime. Really? Then let's go home, and Daddy will play with you. The family of 3 got into the car laughing. The car slowly merged into traffic. I looked back at that fast food restaurant. Through the glass window, I seemed to see that lonely figure. I withdrew my gaze and leaned on Alex's shoulder. Let the past be the past. My life is ahead. There is my loving husband, adorable son, and the career I strive for. That is my whole world.